Hi, this is Tamika, and today is day 17 of the 21 Days to Loving You Better Challenge. Yesterday, I briefly mentioned weekly meal planning, so today I wanted to take a little bit of time out to let you inside of my head for a minute so that you'll understand how I actually approach this. I've learned that I have to be very specific about my meal planning. I need to have a plan. When I don't have a plan and I sort of willy-nilly go about this thing and eat whatever I can find, inevitably I get off track. I end up eating things that aren't lining up with my list of things that I will or will not eat, and usually the scale ends up going the wrong direction. So number one, I have to have a list. What will I and will I not eat? A yes list of food and a no list of food. And then from there, I know where I'm going to go. Number two, I need to know what I enjoy eating, what sort of flavor profiles line up with, my idea or my thoughts of a good meal. And then number three, I go to the store. I'm in charge of grocery shopping in my house, and so I know that when I go to the grocery store, I'm getting the things that I'm going to eat. So if you're not the person who shops, make sure that they know some of the items that you need to have on a regular basis in the house. And then what I do is I sort of do this whole idea of remixing, and I think about all of the meals and the dishes that I enjoyed preoperatively, and then all of those flavor profiles, and then I try to figure out how I can remix it and have sort of that same taste and feel post-op. And so if you have been on my journey with me for any amount of time, you know that I love Mexican food, so I love the cumin and the oregano and the chilies and all of those sort of types of flavors. So I make sure that as best I can, I incorporate that into my meals post-op. And then I sit down and I cook. And I cook on Sundays, and I measure the foods that are actually going into my meal, because after I cook, I then throw all of the ingredients into either, I use a couple different options. Here lately I've been using Livestrong, and there's an option to actually create a meal so that in the end it will give you all the nutritional facts for your meal. So I journal my food. I know what I'm eating. I know how many calories I'm eating each time I eat, and so I have to have that information, even if it's something that I'm cooking at home. So I write the ingredients down as I go, and then I throw it into a calculator online. Spark People also has a calculator, and I'll put the links to all of them in the video. But there's a couple different options that you can use. And so I cook, and in order to make sure that I get sort of the serving size and stuff like that calculated, I measure the food. So for an example, if I cook a big pot of chili, I know all the ingredients that went in the chili. I throw that information into the calculator. I measure the big pot of food in the end, and I know that depending upon what it is, if it's more of a dense type food, I'm going to have a half a cup of it. If it's more of a food that has sort of like a liquid, like a chili or a soup, I make sure that I fill my containers with the dense portion, half a cup, and the other half a cup is liquid. And so I need to measure the whole amount and then throw into the calculator how many servings I intend to get from this pot of food. And then it will give me the specific calories, protein, sugars, carbs, and all of that. I'm a person who's specifically concerned about calories and proteins, and so a lot of times when I cook things in my cooking videos, I'll give you the calories and protein count, because that's my thing. I'm not necessarily so much worried about carbs, because I try to stay away from them as much as possible unless they're complex. So that's my thing. That is my method of how I actually approach meal planning. I have specific steps each step of the way. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not a list sort of person per se. I know that I am going to make sure that I always have my bariatric basics in my house at all times, and I'm going to make a video about that tomorrow. But I have my bariatric basics, and then I sort of build around them, depending upon what's on sale for the week in terms of meat or what looks good when I go in the grocery store. And then I sort of build around and figure out what I'm going to make with it. The journal focus for today is for you to take the time out to figure out how you approach meal planning. From time to time, I'm questioning about, do you really cook that way and then measure your food and put it in containers and have containers in the freezer and have containers in the refrigerator? Yes, because if I don't, I get off track. So I have learned that I can love myself enough to make sure that I take the time out to do all of those things. It might seem like it's a lot, but it's something that once you do it over and over again and you see results from doing it and you realize that when you know what you're going to go in your refrigerator and eat, it's a lot better than when you have to fumble around and figure out what you're going to eat and possibly make wrong decisions. You'll appreciate the time that goes into it. So journal about that. How do you approach meal planning? What do you do? And hopefully maybe I've provided some tips that can help you, even if it's just as simple as knowing how you can calculate how many calories are in your meal, because I know that's something that people question a lot. I hope I helped. I hope you're having fun. As usual, we're almost wrapping this up. Remember, we are learning tips on a daily basis that can hopefully make us love ourselves better while we're on our weight loss surgery journey. I shall talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.